My dear people, today's topic of the homily will be faith. What we understand, how we should understand faith, what does to have a faith mean? But before I go into, as we say, meritum in Latin, into explanation, I would like to start with the fact, with something that happened to me a few years ago here in this parish. I was during the winter, before Christmas, and you know, we have this so-called vicariate confessions that we as a priest, we go to have from parish, designated parish, from our parish to the one who is designated for the confession before Christmas and Easter. And I remember this was before Christmas, and I prepared everything, just my schedule, I took my aunt, and just like 2 hours before, an hour before I supposed to go, I realized one thing, that the world became white. Was storm, the snow was falling so strongly that you could not see before you like 1 yard. Was white. Well, I couldn't see where is the road, so I just go out from my garage, make the turn, and go back to the garage. Because simply I could not see. And I didn't want to travel to Marysville because there I was, you know, over the it's few miles, but still I was incapacitated. I couldn't go there because of the lack of the sight. What happened in today's gospel? Peter started to walk on the water. You know, when he says, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. Because you remember, before, when the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water, they were scared and they start to even shout that he's ghost, he's ghost. When Jesus started to talk, they recognize him. So Peter, to be extra, to have extra insurance, says, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. And Jesus said, simply come. Jesus was walking towards him, and Peter wanted to meet him at some point. So what happened? Everything was good. Peter probably made few passes, few yards, and then, instead of fix his eyes on Jesus, he saw the big waves and start to doubt and start to sink. But he made few passes. Remember that. Now, for us, for the people of this 21st century, we are dealing with the ordinary things in our lives. We don't pretend to walk on our lake, on the water. We know that to walk we need miracle, we need direct intervention of God. But I don't want to speak about that. I want to speak about being Catholic, having the faith, having the vision, having our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ. What does it mean? This is sort of figurative language, because having the eyes fixed on Jesus does mean that I accept his teaching as the one that binds me, does not give me any other option like to follow him. That's what Peter wanted as well. That's what all the apostles, they did the same. They followed Jesus in his footsteps. What does it mean? They accepted everything what he said about them, about humankind, about our future, about why we are here, and about heaven as well, about God himself, how much he loves us. So just keep this in your mind because it's quite interesting. So the real faith required one thing, integrity. And here our generation, our society, I think lacks very much. We do not have a people who will have integrity in the field of faith. Because we always find excuse. We always find excuse to stop believing God and to do our business. That is very often contrary to Jesus' teaching. And we sing. And we sing because we refuse God. And I give you a few examples. Even the common understanding of the faith is the feelings, is what should be. But I talk about that. And you know that my second phrase will be, no, it's not the feeling, it's obedience. But I want to go a little bit deeper this time to explain that you can understand what I really mean when I speak about integrity. That because we are Catholic, because we are Christian, because we are saying that we believe in Jesus Christ, that because we are saying that we accepted his teaching, his vision of the future, we must act always in such way. I cannot say here in the church, I accept Jesus Christ, I receive him in the communion, and in my daily life I forget that and I am going with the fashion. With the fashion that very often is built on the human, egotistical understanding of our existence. What is scary that humanity tried to take God, his teaching, and throw away, but not in the violence way, because they know that will not work. So have a little bit more delicate way, but even more danger. Dilute the message of God, or close the message of God to the ceremony in the church. But your life must be different. Very often I am surprised of the human choices that they are made based on the fashion, on the false teaching, on the lies. I remember the last preaching of Zbig and John here was about that we have to be knowledgeable as a Christian. We have to know where is the truth and stick to it. That more or less was one part of his teaching. And I want to go even more deeper. To have integrity does mean that I do not compromise what Jesus teaching me, and I do not compromise in my daily life. For instance, people does not see how they are going against the God teaching when they make political choices and choose, for instance, the candidates that support abortion. Say, no, I did not do abortion. myself personally, but very fact, if you support someone who says even in the late stage you can do abortion, if you support such candidate that, I remind you, 50 years ago will be impossible that he will exist in the political field, because everybody will refuse him. Today, seems to be that even the Catholics say, no, personally I didn't. But if you support this, this is grave sin. Because you support the killing of innocent people. Whatever we do in our lives brings consequences. We must not say, because I live outside now the church, I finish my Mass, I can do whatever I want. No, God's teaching still supposed to be the compass of our moral compass of our choices, always. And I could tell you more examples, but I don't want that. So I don't want to tell you how you must live. But if you decided to be Catholic, live as a Catholic. Every day of the week, every moment of the week. We just created dichotomy. One is the religion, one is my private life. So how I can, here I am Catholic, in my private life, political life, I stop to be Catholic. We created this tendency and this understanding that is so dangerous, that makes me show immediately, I am showing if I act like that I don't have any integrity, I am not contagious in the field of the faith. Because I don't have any power, I don't believe, I am thinking like Peter. I stop to see Jesus, and I am suiting some other human interest. My dear brothers and sisters, my dear people, we are obliged to be knowledgeable and to choose always what is according to God's gospel in every field of my life. In the religious field, in personal field, in political field, in military field, whatever you find. Always the gospel is my moral compass. Always. It's not an excuse. I cannot stop being Catholic. To have integrity, that means that I do not compromise. God is always on the first place. God is always shining on my action, and I am not afraid or ashamed of Him. If we do so, we will rebuild our church. That's only when. Remember, faith equal integrity. Integrity equal no compromise. What is important, what comes from